Can I join with other senators in expressing my abhorrence at what's happening in Ukraine? That is obvious to see. I think I'm tremendously proud actually of Ireland's reaction. We are, I would say, hamstrung on one level because of our military neutrality and our military non-alignment, and I think that is actually appropriate. I don't want Ireland to shed its military non-alignment. I think that's a tremendously important part of our polity. But if you look at what Ireland has actually done to respond to this, the tangible actions taken in terms of sending out a very clear message to people in Ukraine that they're welcome here, for starters, is an incredibly important gesture. And I have had many conversations with Minister McEntee over the weekend about what that meant. And it has been mentioned already in this debate, the fact that people would also be able to access Ireland even if they didn't have an international Ukrainian passport, if they didn't even have a passport. A driver's licence would be sufficient. These are important measures. They're tangible measures, and they show the depth of feeling in this country in terms of the people in Ukraine. I have the privilege, Minister, of being counsel before the International Criminal Court, and I particularly want to acknowledge the steps by Karim Khan as prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. I know you mentioned it in the course of your remarks as well, as making a very clear statement of the ICC's intentions in terms of Russia and Belarus. And I praise the Lithuanian Prime Minister for taking the step forward of making that complaint to the ICC so they can begin that investigation. There should be nowhere to hide for Putin and his allies and Lukashenko and his cronies. They must have nowhere to go when the violence ceases, and it will cease eventually. The question is, how many people are going to die before that happens? How many communities and lives will be destroyed before that happens? But whatever happens, those people who are involved in it must understand that there will be nowhere for them to hide when it comes to an end. And a question was asked in the course of this debate already. Where does Ireland stand? Well, to my mind, there's absolutely no doubt about that. I was astonished by how some people have used this crisis as a political point-scoring opportunity. A speech from one senator today who was used really to needle at the Minister for Defence about defence spending, which has nothing to do with this debate whatsoever. And when that was said and asked, which is Ireland on Russia's side? An extraordinary comment. On the radio last week, I was against a TD from another party, People for Profit, which I see one academic has renamed Putin before people, talking about essentially blaming this on NATO. Now, I'm not an apologist for NATO, but this is not anybody's fault but Vladimir Putin and his greed and his avarice for power and domination. That's what's at heart here, and no blame is to be apportioned to the Ukrainian people or to any other group. Minister, I am very proud with the steps that Ireland has taken so far. I wish you well in the enormous work that comes from now, in particular in relation to our role in the Security Council, but well done so far, and let's keep the good work up.